guys, it's JD here, back again with another video. We are back again, apologies for the delay, but here is Dragon Ball Daima episode 7. We are finally at the Tamagamas. And of course, the episode ends right there, just like old times, right? So this episode was definitely not my favorite, at least in terms of the pacing, the structure, and the execution. It's not a bad episode, especially compared to a lot of super episodes, but I'll get into that later in the review. I think the pacing up to this point has been a little bit of a problem, especially knowing some things about how long the actual series really is. So I am hoping things speed up in terms of getting us to where we need to be in terms of the composition of the story. I know this is just a limited time series most likely, so it won't be as long as Super or GT, but I do just want to put out my criticisms that I think that this episode was a little bit lacking in terms of, this could have been reorganized with another episode in terms of how they're dropping dialogue and exposition. I feel like there was maybe a better way to add this episode or other episodes that we've had up to this point into a longer running episode, or just later in the series when we've reached certain important points. But it was still enjoyable. So the episode begins with Bulma and the company back at the Mortal Realm Universe 7, right? Bulma is still having trouble rebuilding Shin's ship. They tried to have, take it off, and it was not able to last episode. This is actually a first, I think, for Bulma, because she usually is able to get things built, at some point, and this is one of those first times where I don't think she can build it. So it's really great that this hurdle that's coming from this technology is from the Demon Realm, right? So the last thing that Toriyama leaves us with basically, is the lore and exposition of the Demon Realm and all the different elements of what it means for things to be from or to do things in the Demon Realm, like magic and science. I'm glad that even this was enough to stump Bulma of all people. So I do like that they're kind of homing in on the fact that this is a very mystical and it's a perfect marriage of magic and science. Other people may have said that already as well. But Bulma is basically unable to fix the ship due to the energy converter module. They need like a new raw or element that's specifically only found in the Demon Realm. I think it was Vegeta or Piccolo suggests like using an earth element, but that would delay it, so it wouldn't be guaranteed to succeed, especially with the time that they have. So as they're losing hope, as many people predicted, we see the arrival of Hibiscus from King Kadon's demon group. Hibis explains that he was sent to connect them with Goku and company, so they get picked up basically. We then transition to a scene with Goku eating more of some of these demon foods, some kind of like demon dumpling. This time it's they call it manpaku dumplings. So it's almost, again, another thing that functions like sensus. One is enough to fill you up, but Goku, being a Saiyan with those appetites, he doesn't eat just one but two. And of course you see his like stomach expand, which is a little gag that we keep seeing. But we do get a funny exchange between Pansy and Goku. She asks how Goku was able to raise a kid, which Goku responds that he wasn't really involved. Some fans have had a problem with this. Honestly, it's not really an issue. Goku has always pursued training and strength, even after the tournaments back in early Dragon Ball with Ma Jr. and the wedding with Bulma. Once he had gotten married to Bulma and they had Gohan, he did play a role in his life. I mean, we see that in some of the filler movies and early parts of Dragon Ball, but he would always find time to train, right? That's always been what pushes Goku forward. He's a very, practitioner of a lot of Buddhist Taoist teachings, so they stress a lot of detachment most of the time. So that doesn't mean that they don't love, it just means that they're detached. But after having Gohan, he did have, there were moments he had with Gohan, of course, and then we see that later in, the Frieza saga, the Cell saga, and Buu saga, but, Goku always did his own thing. Gohan would always do his study habits with Chi-Chi. Once Goku died in the Cell arc, and then the 7 years passed, obviously he wasn't involved. Now Goten was also watched by Chi-Chi. Again, she wanted to push him towards scholarly studies, which didn't really happen later on, but we know that was one of the focal points. But unlike with Gohan, Chi-Chi did provide some time to train Goten with martial arts, and until he turned Super Saiyan, of course. But she did do that. That probably reflects the fact that there was a Goku effect on Chi-Chi, and she became a little bit more lax with the strictness of the family home. So once Goku was given his life back from the Elder Kai and returned to Earth, it's basically kind of alluded to that they spent more time together as a family, which you see in some of the filler episodes in the anime. So, but it's a true statement. Goku was pretty much away from his family, or not actively involved. And I don't think that's really an issue, because he still loved his family. He still was there to defend them from many threats. So, and even in Super, we see him, still training, going to visit King Kai, doing his farming stuff. So, I don't really see an issue with that statement. We do switch back to Hybis and company. They do leave Kami's lookout and are about to reach the system, which had Warp Sama from episode 3. Hybis connects with King Karan and tells him to catch up with Goku and his friends as they're about to reach the Tamagami 3 location. We then switch back again to Goku and Ko, who, they've been in the ship for a while. It's been a constant little gag here, them kind of get more ships. But Pansy spots one of those Ginger Marie ships, which they're unable to escape this time, so they comply with the request of essentially being forced to land to be checked. Glorio explains that since they didn't immediately attack, it's because they're not sure if Goku's with them, because again, Goku's a wanted criminal. They are then pulled to some kind of Gendarmerie, area, some back forest area. The ships are checked by them. Goku and Shen hatch a plan, because obviously they would see Goku in the ship. And then it's revealed that as they're checking the ship, Goku used his Shunkan Ito, or instant transmission, to teleport to Ki's signature. Now, some people again had a problem with this, because Shen is a god, and gods have God Ki, which shouldn't be detectable by mortals. But before I answer this with at least Super's logic, we do know that in the Buu arc, Goku did teleport to the Stream Kai's world. Now, he did hone in using Gohan as the focal point, just like in Resurrection F when he honed in on Gohan's power. But it is definitely possible that Goku could have sensed the Ki leakage, which is what Super's logic is. Once you hone your Ki through whatever spiritual trainings of whatever masters or mentors that you work with, you can hone your Ki to a point where once it's cultivated and kept within the body, it reaches a higher tier, a higher threshold of pressure, which is what God Ki really is. At least that's been the illusion. So basically, Shen probably just allowed his Ki signature to be felt, which allowed Goku to, of course, track it. So the guards decide to interrogate Pansy, who has the red collar that has been alluded to for a lot of these episodes. It is something that is found on all the denizens of the third demon realm, and it's used to track and restrict their movements, as we've seen before. So they wanted to interrogate her, and obviously that's not going to lead to anything good, so they do all attack, and that basically puts them on the bounty list as well. So we get a lot of Shen action, which is great. We see Goku, Shen, and Gloria easily take care of business. Now, the ship is damaged again in the process. This is the third time, and it's become redundant. I could definitely see the criticisms of why this has to keep being a plot thread of them having to get a new ship or repair it. But they do find another ship, which is actually one of the Gender Marie ships. This is the most advanced plane or ship models that they use in the Demon Realm. Kind of reminds me of TIE fighters from Star Wars, how they were more advanced than the Republic era Jedi starfighters. So they do unpack their belongings to go into the new ship. Pansy has a moment where she laments the red collar and knows that it's going to cause issues going forward. So she wishes it to be removed, which then causes Shen to reveal that he can use his Glind magic to remove it. It's revealed that basically Dr. Rensu's the one who probably concocted this plan of using these collars on the Dissons, probably for some whatever evil scheme that they will probably later reveal in the series. But we are told that this collar is made from Kachinate, which is like Kachin from the Buu Saga and the same type of element from the creation of the Terminate Power. But it comes from planet Kaishin. And this again is what I was saying in previous reviews. It was premature to call all the Kaioshin or Glind Lore retcon, because it seems like every single episode or two we're getting more information that kind of ties back to some of those Dazenshu interviews. So now we have the core tree, which we saw in the last episode. We now have the name of the planet. We have some of the metals and the other particulars of the Glen race and their culture. All that's left now is really to explain the regional Kais, and then the corrupted fruits that lead to the Makai and the Makaio Shens. Because that, while it has been revealed in the Zenshus, it's not been shown yet, at least in canon. So we're gonna hopefully get that soon, probably when Degasu stuff starts happening. But Pansy's elated because it is removed, and then we get another piece of lore. So Shen does actually have a demon realm name, which is Nahare. So Goku actually says it perfectly, unlike with Glorio's name, but it does lead us to believe, like, what if the Saiyans and the Mechans have another name that they go by, other than what we've seen thus far. So hopefully we will see that, some more to come. Now, the final part of the episode is them reaching the cultural site, which is essentially, it's like a gift shop with like a little merchant area. There's a shrine or a challenge area, kind of like a little tournament grounds, and there's a tree which has some kind of like energy projection of the Dragon Ball, and then you see Tamagami 3, almost like a statue. Reminds you of like Regigigas or something like that from Pokemon. Very, very similar to like a legendary Pokemon fight. So the music playing in the scene is really great. I think that was actually the best part of the episode, was just the music. They were just really hyping up this confrontation. Goku and the gang talk about how legendary the Tamagamas are. Pansy doubts Goku can really do it, but Goku's just happy and excited to be given the chance to kind of test his power finally. Like I said in previous reviews, the Tamagamas all have to be around Perfect Cell, Super Perfect Cell, maybe even beyond that. And based on statements from the Buu Saga when Goku fought Babidi's henchman Yakan, we know that based off like the energy system that they're using, and based on how it was when compared to Deborah, it probably takes Super Saiyan 2 to overcome the Tamagamas, since this is close to the Buu Saga scaling. So this is why I think, based on some of the material we've seen in the openings and the trailers, I think Goku's going to use Super Saiyan 2 and a Kamehameha to finally end the fight. I think that's what's going to happen. And then of course Tamagami will probably give up. I don't think he's going to die. But Goku, before this all begins to start, Goku decides to get food and to use the bathroom. They visit one of the nearby merchant shops. They're eating these weird eye things, which is, again, it seems to be a constant joke, is that it's all weird food. Goku has a little moment with the monk shopkeeper because he doesn't think that, like, Goku's asking about, like, oh, you just have to challenge the Tamagamas, and the monk is like, oh, you know, these kids, you know, I think they can just do something so crazy. But the episode does end, you know, after Goku goes to the bathroom. He challenges the Tamagama, who actually sounds like All Might, which is pretty fitting. I'm expecting this fight to have a lot of really gorgeous animation and visuals, especially with the animators that we know that are on this episode. So seeing Goku using his Nyobo, probably with Super Saiyan, is going to be a really cool combo. I do expect Vegeta and his group to arrive near the end of the episode, but I think Goku will win and the fight will be over with, which will probably trigger Vegeta. So overall, I think the episode was the weakest so far. I mean, there's nothing bad. I mean, the animation, everything is good. It's just that in terms of the pacing and what we need, it's sort of like a fall off episode. You end off where people want it to be, but getting up to that point, a lot of it could have just been further threaded in previous episodes. You know, I wish they would go beyond the 23, you know, episode kind of minute that they always have for these animes. Because especially with what we know, with how many episodes there are, I just feel like they need to be a little bit more careful with how much they leave on the table or how much they don't put on the table. But maybe this is exactly the way it is, based off exactly what Toriyama inputted. And if that's the case, I respect that. But there are some, I feel, legitimate concerns about the pacing, and it does make me a little bit worried about the rest of the fights and the rest of the content that we have for those fights. You know, is this Tamagami 3 episode going to be one episode? I think so. Should it be 2 episodes or more? It should be, but we'll see. We can't judge this until we see it on Friday. So I do have another video actually about the state of Daima with Alex from Unreal Ent Gaming, so stay tuned. I think I'm going to post that video on Thanksgiving before Friday, episode 8. Really excited to see things get the ball rolling with Daima. More to come, more art, more videos. Leave your thoughts down below. Have a great Thanksgiving, guys, and if you celebrate it, and have a great rest of the holidays, of course. But this is JD signing out.